We all leave a mark on the world, right? But what if most of that mark was, well, invisible? What if every little thing you did left a trace that you couldn't see, but that was actually changing the planet? Today, we're going to talk about how to make that invisible footprint visible.
Just imagine that for a second. A shadow, but made of smoke, that follows you everywhere you go. It gets a little bit thicker when you flip on a light, a little bigger when you hop in a car. Sounds a little weird, I know, but this idea is way closer to reality than you might think.
You see, that smoke shadow is the perfect way to picture a very real, invisible trace we all leave behind us. You can't see it, you can't touch it, but it's there. And it's growing, quietly, with pretty much everything we do every single day. Okay, so let's pull back the curtain on this invisible trace. What exactly is it, and how are we creating it, maybe without even realizing it? This invisible trace actually has a name. It's called a carbon footprint. And to put it simply, it's the total amount of greenhouse gases, like carbon dioxide, CO2, that get released into the air because of the things we do. It's basically the scientific name for our smoke shadow.
Now, the tricky part is that there's a hidden story behind almost everything. When you flip a light switch, you see the light come on, right? But you don't see the power plant maybe miles away burning fuel. When you charge your phone, you don't see the emissions being released. It's this invisible chain reaction that builds up our footprint, one small action at a time. And that chain reaction is actually a pretty straightforward four-step process. First, you use electricity. That sends a signal to a power plant to burn more fuel to keep up. Third, that burning fuel releases invisible CO2 into the atmosphere. And boom, your personal carbon footprint gets a little bit bigger. It's a direct consequence, even if we can't see it happen.
Okay, so we get it. It's personal and it's invisible. But why should we even care about this little invisible footprint? What happens when it becomes something, well, massive and impactful? Because here's the crucial part. When you add up all of our individual invisible footprints, yours, mine, everyone's, they combine to create a huge, very visible problem that affects the entire planet: climate change. Our small, unseen actions together have a massive, seen effect.
So, if it's such a big deal, why is it so hard for us to wrap our heads around? Well, it's the nature of the beast, really. The emissions themselves, invisible. The biggest impacts, like melting ice caps, they can feel super distant and abstract. And let's be honest, it's pretty much impossible to connect flicking a light switch in your room to that larger global impact. It's a tough nut to crack.
But what if we could change that? What if we could take this invisible problem and turn it into a visible solution? This right here is the turning point. I mean, it's a classic problem, isn't it? If the thing causing the issue is totally invisible, how on earth are you supposed to fight it? How do you know if you're even making a difference?
The answer is actually so simple, but it's incredibly powerful. You find a way to make it visible. You take the unseen and you put it right there in front of your eyes. And this isn't just some sci-fi idea. New tools are being designed to do exactly that. Imagine a digital platform that can turn that invisible impact into something you can see, measure, and actually do something about. One really cool example of this is a platform called Solar Trackers.
So how do these things even work? Well, platforms like this connect directly to solar panels, and they do two really key things. First, they measure every single bit of clean electricity being generated. And second, they translate that energy into the direct positive impact it's having on the climate.
So let's break it down, because this is the magic part. The solar panels on a roof soak up the sun and generate clean power. A platform like Solar Trackers measures every bit of that energy. Then, and this is the cool part, it converts that energy data into a hard number, the exact amount of CO2 you've kept out of the atmosphere. And just like that, your climate action isn't invisible anymore. It's a number right there on a screen. And this is where the whole idea becomes truly personal. We're not talking about some far-off power plant anymore. We are talking about climate action happening right where you are every single day, at your school. I absolutely love this quote because it just nails the whole idea. It takes this gigantic global challenge and shows you that your local actions have real power, power that you can now literally see and track. And that is why this is a total game changer. Suddenly, climate action becomes visible, which was the biggest hurdle, right? It's local. It's your school's own solar panels doing the work.
It's measurable, so you can track your progress with real numbers, not just guesses. And maybe most important of all, it's engaging, because you can see that what you do actually truly matters.
Now take a look at this. This isn't a guess or an estimate. It's a real number from a real school using a platform just like this. 450 kilograms of CO2. That's CO2 that was prevented from going into our atmosphere in just 1 month. You know how much that is? That's about the weight of a grand piano. That is a visible, tangible impact.
And that brings us to the final, and I think the most important question. By making our invisible footprint visible, we can finally see the positive impact we're having. We can track it, we can get excited about it, and we can challenge ourselves to do even more. The only question left is, what will your school's number be?